I think a lot of people think that going into programming is a lot of math, so they run away from it.
Okay.
But really, programming is not math; it's logic.
Okay.
So also, there is a huge demand that every company uses software. There's a term going around for years now that says software hits the wall, and by next year, every company in America will be a software company.
Welcome to the Bourbon Friday Show. I'm your host, Nick Niehaus, and today I am talking to Ola Ayeni, who is the founder and chief idea officer at Claim Academy. So Ola, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Nick.
Of course.
For having me.
Let's start off with something simple. Tell me a little bit about Claim Academy.
So Claim Academy is a software programming bootcamp that we started about 4.5 years ago here in St. Louis that takes someone who has little or no background as a software developer, and in 12 weeks, we turn them into a developer.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. We are approved by the Missouri Department of Higher Education.
Okay.
So just like a university, we have accreditation. And when people come to us for our 12-week program, they finish with a transcript and a certificate. Currently, we have a 93% placement rate. The average salary is $63,000.
Wow.
Over 150 employers hire from our network.
That's amazing.
We're pretty excited about that.
Very cool. Well, I know this is obviously something that's very in demand right now, right? There's quite a few programs that help train people in this way. Is there still a pretty substantial shortage, or are there enough programs that are kind of getting people ready for this now, or what are you seeing?
So there is a big shortage of software developers.
Okay.
For the last 9 years, there's been a huge shortage. By next year, there'll be 1.4 million positions that will be open.
Wow. Okay.
So if we bring it down to the St. Louis area, we have over 10,000 positions, according to the St. Louis Business Journal. And there's a report that comes out of St. Louis Community College that shows that. In the state of Missouri, for instance, the entire state produces less than 850 computer science students.
Really?
Every year, yeah.
That's it?
And the demand is over 10,000.
Holy cow. Why?
So,
do you have any idea why there's such a discrepancy? Is people just can't afford college, or?
No, I think a lot of people think that going into programming is a lot of math, so they run away from it.
Okay.
But really, programming is not math, it's logic.
Okay.
So also there is a huge demand that every company uses software. There's a term going around for years now that says software hits the wall. And by next year, every company in America will be a software company. So the demand for software developers, the demand for people who will make things electronical or digital to work is so huge.
Sure.
And the industry is growing at 24%.
Wow.
As a result, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. So the demand is not going to stop.
It doesn't sound like it, yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about the backgrounds of a lot of people, right? Because I think that's maybe part of another reason why people aren't getting into the career here. So when you bring your students in, where are they coming from? Are they technical fields, or are you getting people from other areas?
So almost, if not all of our students do not have a technical degree of some sort or background.
Oh, really? Okay.
68% of the people that come to Claim Academy over 4.5 years have a degree in something.
Okay.
Right? You will have somebody who come in with math. You will have somebody with Spanish, English, philosophy, theater, marketing, accounting. We even have people who have master's degree that would apply. 32% do not have any degree at all. So the companies don't really care about, what you went to school to do, which is your credential. What they really care about is your competency at this time.
Sure.
What can you do for them? There's a report that came out of Stack Overflow a few years ago that shows that 6 out of 10 people who are currently in the software or IT industry do not have a background in technology.
Really?
So for instance, Monsanto, which is now big in town here, the chief technology officer has a PhD in biology.
Interesting.
So he didn't go to school to learn programming.
Sure.
He learned it later. Or there's a company in Clayton here in Missouri called Clarinet. Max Shunt, his first degree is in psychology. Or I think it's philosophy of psychology, one of the two, before he went into programming.
Okay.
So almost all the people that come to Claim Academy typically have no background as a developer. Now, we do have several that are in second year or third year computer science degree programs that they will leave those and come to us. We've had several
really?
from many of the local universities around us here, including community college as well, that they will just say, okay, well, I prefer where I can really learn the real stack, hands-on, and something that can really teach me how to program and how to think like a developer, not just theory. And they will leave those programs and come to us. So we've had a mix of those.
Okay. Well, so that leads to another question I was thinking about, which is, a lot of these programs, and Claim is 3 months, right?
Right.
Are pretty short compared to a 4-year college degree, right? And these schools are taking 4 years to educate people.
Right.
So are there, how does that happen? I mean, is there a lot of inefficiency in the college programs? I mean, is there a different kind of, focus? I mean, what's the difference there?
So there are a couple of differences between what we do and what traditional education does.
Sure.
First of all, when people go to traditional education, it's great. It's wonderful. All of us went there. One of the things you will find out is that, there's so many general ed courses that you take that you don't need.
Yeah,
that really doesn't have any relevance to what you're going to do later.
Yeah, that's fair.
So for instance, 3/4 of, in some places, you're doing history, you're doing economics, you're doing literature, you're doing all these things, but you want to be a technology person. That really doesn't, correlate to what you want to do. So that is one thing that's an issue in the number of what people learn. The second thing is that a lot of times people just learn theory.
Yeah.
And so when you go to class, the professor will teach you something. I have a background in that field also. I was a professor at a university about 5 years. We just teach people things, we give them handout and bye.
Yeah.
So hands-on and the ability to really learn how to do these things well, you lack that. So that's why we have computer science major from area universities. They will just withdraw second year, third year, even final year. We've had someone who's in final year.
Wow.
We had a guy who came from a university, Purdue University, was actually the head of their computer science society. When he finished his program, he had to come to us at Claim Academy and learn how to program.
Oh my gosh.
And we asked him why. He said, well, they didn't prepare me how to program. I really don't know how to do this thing. So there's a difference between, credential and competency.
Sure.
And what we focus on is competency. And thirdly, we see employers as our customer.
Okay.
Traditional education sees students as their customer.
Gotcha. Yeah. Big difference.
So there's a big difference. So we see our students as an asset that we prepare for the need of the customer, which is the tradition, which is the companies.
Yeah.
So
makes a lot more sense, right?
Express Script, MasterCard, many of these organizations, and that's a paradigm shift in the way we both look at who we serve.
Interesting.
So those are some of the key reasons why there's a change.
Yeah. Well,
and then the demand. The demand is putting pressure on traditional education. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
And company needs people like yesterday.
Sure.
So an innovative program that takes 540 hours a week minimum, theirs is about the same, but it takes forever. You do 3 hour here, 2 hour there, 2 hour. Ours is focused 9 hours a day.
Yeah.
And we have 3 hour blocks each for 12 weeks. That makes us very focused, and the competency is strong. When people come out, they come out with all the things they need that on day one they're able to perform. And that's what we focus on.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, tell me about the instructors then, right? Because this is obviously a pretty intensive process.
Right.
Who's teaching the students?
So we have instructors that has several years experience as software developers.
Okay.
And these are people who have a love of sharing and teaching others.
Sure.
Almost all our instructors have a master's degree of some sort. and then they have several years working as a senior architect at various companies.
Gotcha. So they have
Those
actual
are the people,
experience. Yeah,
right? So
support.
again,
Yeah.
it's about the stack they're using, things they do, not somebody who's just theory, sharing things with you. Somebody who has really walked the walk, have solved so many problems for several years, and then bring that to class and teach how they solve those problems in a design thinking process. And that's what we do.
Very cool. All right. And then in terms of the kind of process here, I mean, you told me it's pretty intensive. I mean, where do they start? Is there a requirement to get in? I mean, do you have to have certain skills to get started?
Oh yeah. So to get into Claim Academy, I mean, the companies in the region, which we have 150 of them, know these very well, that people have to do 2 types of interview.
Okay.
The first one, which is minimum of 30 minutes, is a behavioral interview where we get to know who you are, why you want to be a developer, what's your background, what will you, what is important to you, and to see if there's a fit.
Okay.
And then we have what we call a technical challenge assessment. This one is, some people have to do 5 to 20 hours of just learning, watching a bunch of videos online, and answering 4 major questions. If you don't pass those things, you're not coming in.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right, you're not getting in. Also, we have, in lieu of that, people can now come in for a 2 weeks, 2 hour, 3 times a week admission prep bootcamp. Again, we teach people.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you don't pass those as well and get in, we're not going to take you in.
Okay.
So it's for people who are passionate, people who want to think about how to solve problems, and people who are dedicated to really doing because it's just not the money. Oh, they're going to make a lot of money, yeah.
Sure.
But so we don't take everyone. That's
Gotcha.
just it. And the quality of people that comes out of Claim Academy speaks for itself.
Well, yeah, it sounds like I'm obviously focusing on what the employer needs.
What the employer
definitely
needs.
shifts the focus, right? So obviously, probably the most important question here is somebody's listening to this, sounds like a good fit for them. How do they apply? What's that process look like?
So the way to apply is they go to our website, which is claimacademystl.com.
Okay.
And there's an apply button. It takes less than 5 minutes to fill that out.
Easy enough.
And that goes into our system, and then they get an automatic email that asks them to book a time to interview.
Okay.
And so they will then click on that link. They can book a time on the day they want to interview. They can do it over the phone, Google Hangout, or they come into a training facility at 2119 Olive Street here in St. Louis.
Okay.
So people have choices. From there, then we get to interview and understand why they want to be a developer, because that's critical. Also, what's their background? We like people who like to think about things.
Okay.
And you don't have to have a college degree.
Sure.
The minimum here is high school.
Okay.
We've had situations where people who just self-taught are extremely brilliant, and they do so well out of our program. And so once they apply, they come in, we interview them, we talk to them about the next step, which is now you either go online and do an intro to Java class, watch a bunch of videos and solve the problem, or you come into a class to do it. Now, when you watch the video online, you have to also send us the result and the code and the problem you solve, and you have to defend it. So if you got copy it online and you fail, that's it.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
Fair enough. People have to really put the effort in. But either way, either path gets people in. So you can either do it on your own, or you come into our admission prep bootcamp. And it's a mini 2-week session. And then from there, they get an acceptance letter.
Okay.
And once they get an acceptance letter, then we figure out how do you pay for it and things like that.
Okay. And when is the next cohort getting started?
So the next cohort begins on August 17.
Okay. 2 weeks.
Which is probably about 2 weeks from now. And every 6 weeks we start another one. The next one will be in September the 28th. But the August 17 is getting filled up very quickly.
Okay.
So, and we do.
Is there a deadline for applying to that next one?
Yeah, it's August the 2nd actually. It's the deadline.
So we got a few more days here.
A few more days. But when people apply before, then we still help them in and walk them through the process a few days before. the actual class begins.
All right. Well, very cool. Well, we got a few minutes left at this point, so I want to invite our founder of the Bourbon Friday event, Eric, onto the show.
All right.
And as he does every week, Eric's going to tell us what we're drinking. So what do we got?
We are drinking Few Bourbon, which is made by Few Spirits. And the reason I brought that is because I know that you, before moving to St. Louis, came from Chicago.
Right.
Few is in the Chicago area as well.
No kidding. I'm going to drink that. Cheers.
It's
Cheers to Chi-Town.
Actually in Evanston, right there. And one of the interesting things about this is Few are actually the initials for Frances Elizabeth Willard. And who that is the second president of the temperance movement, which is the abstinence from drinking movement.
Sure.
And because she moved to Evanston, so the whole temperance movement, which happened, in the late 1800s, Evanston became the focus. Evanston was a dry city until 1972.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
the founder of this distillery.
I didn't knew that.
And the founder of this distillery was one of the people that got that overturned.
Oh, okay.
To start his own company. So.
Interesting. So I'm curious why he named it after her then.
Because
just kind of a jab, so to speak.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. It. Well, as always, Eric, thank you for sharing your knowledge of all these amazing bourbons with us as well.
Yeah, I never knew that. That came from Chicago.
I know. I learn something new every week myself. Well, Ola, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Pleasure.
Yeah, had a good time with
guys.
you. For those of you tuning in, thanks for watching us here. We do go live every Friday at 4:30 here at Kovo. So we want to thank Kovo for hosting us. Thank you to EQ for distributing the show every week. And especially like to thank Vanessa Lobo, my business partner, Connect Marketing, for always making us look our best on camera as our producer behind the scenes. Thanks for tuning in, and please join us again next Friday at 4:30 for the Bourbon Friday Show.
Hey, thanks for watching. We truly hope you enjoyed it. Please like and share this episode, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. To stay up to date, follow us on social. We are at Bourbon Fridays on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. See you next time.